7998. So today, I would like to give my point of view regarding my topic, which is about targeted advertising. Based on my perspective, targeted advertising should include one of element ethical principle, which is justice. As we learn theory in class, justice can be defined as individual ethics of fairness, such as discriminating against someone else, level of salary for employee based on job scope, and level of education. Or, in simple words, we describe win-win situation. They get what they want, they have their right, and they're facing punishment on their wrongdoing. As we know, justice can be divided into three. Firstly, distributive justice, which is someone gives benefits or is the burden to other people. Second, we have retributive justice, which is require imposition of punishment and penalties to anyone who has committed an offense or broke the law, and someone can defend his or her right. Third, we have compensatory justice, which is requires just compensation for wrong or injuries. So, back to the topic, targeted advertising should have element of justice, which is distributive justice. In this situation, targeted advertising consists element of distributive justice in terms of seller and buyer complete each other. Perfect situation for targeted advertising and justice could be Shopee. As we know, Shopee is one of famous e-commerce platform nowadays. If we see, Shopee for every month, they have advertised their promotion and their campaign in interesting ways. Sometimes they may involve influencer, public figure, even artists as ambassador for attract their audience. Distributive justice here refers to fair distribution, society benefits, and society burdens. In this matter, likely Shopee as one of big e-commerce company, through targeted advertising, they achieve their profit, they able to pay their employee salary, and they achieve their targeted audience. Shopee also able to create job opportunity and income for society. And here he shown every promotion day and campaign that they have receive good feedback and quite encouraging responses from their loyal consumers. For consumer of Shopee can divide it by two, which is we have seller who sell their products or services through Shopee platform, and solely buyer, which is people who only solely buyer that seeking for their needs and spending their money. As a seller in Shopee platform, they receive their own benefits, such as they're able to generate their income, they're able to get free marketing from Shopee advertising, and they're able to lower their burden in terms of they can survive for their life with income that they receive. A solely buyer from Shopee advertising, they receive the products or services that they need for their daily lives. For conclusion, in this situation, we clearly see regarding what I have mentioned before about targeted advertising and distributive justice, win-win situation between Shopee companies, sellers and buyers. They complete each other's and receive the benefit, also able to ease the burden. From targeted advertising that provided by Shopee, we realize good and ethical advertising able to attract audience and achieve huge group of targeted customers. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Abdurrahman bin Zulkupli. My metric number is 273693. So today I'm going to talk about an issues related to targeted advertising from the ethical point of view. So many people ask, is targeted advertising ethical? From my point of view, I think it's ethical as long as it brings no harm to people. I'm going to relate this issue, targeted advertising, to the principle of moral rights. So right itself can be defined as an entitlement to someone to do or not to do something, while moral rights can be defined as rights that all human beings everywhere possesses to an equal extent simply by virtue of being human beings. So the moral rights that always be questioned in targeted advertising is about people's privacy. So everyone have their own privacy. Uh, there are something that people should know and shouldn't know about someone. So in targeted advertising, they use people data such as they know your age, your birthday, and they know your preference to make advertisement that will be related to you, uh, so that you will be interested to buy the product. So I think to answer this question, in moral right itself, we have contractual rights. In contractual rights, it's require both parties to keep the agreement between them. So what we can do here, the company that run the advertisement should not should keep the data of the users safe. They should keep the data to themselves only, and not let the data going to someone who are not related. Uh, the the main concern here is if the data going to someone like scammer, it will make harm to people. So it is important to the company that run the advertisement to keep the people's data safe. So from I think to answer this question, I'm going to say back that the targeted advertising is okay, is good to people as long as it makes no harm and the company keep the data of the user safe. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Tuan Nur Atia binti Tuan Rosli. My metric number is 272373. Targeted advertising can be ethical or unethical, but from my view of point, targeted advertising is unethical. This is because advertiser can discover your information by tracking your activity on the internet. This could be seen as an invasion of privacy. I believe this unethical is suitable with the concept of right, which is moral right. Moral right is right that all human beings everywhere possess to an equal extent simply by virtue of being human beings. There are three kinds of moral right, which is negative right requires others leave us alone. Positive right require others help us. And lastly, contractual or special right require people keep their agreements. This unethical is suitable with this negative right, which is a human need the right to freedom from injury or fraud, freedom of thought, freedom of association, freedom of speech, and the right to privacy. For example, if I have a right to use, sell, or destroy my personal business asset, this means that every other person has the duty not to prevent me from using, selling, or destroying my business property as I choose. Kant's moral principles imply that everyone should be free of the interference of others in these areas, since Kant developed the categorical imperative out of the concept of the unlimited good, or what he called the practical law. Lying, even so it might ultimately serve a good purpose, is always wrong. This action can be considered as dishonesty, and it cannot be widely accepted action. Similarly, dishonesty is wrong according to Aristotelian virtue ethics, which focus on the individual and his or her personality traits. I give you an example. Facebook profile contains biographical information that advertiser would love to know. According to the profile, this user is young, art school educated woman who live in a big city. Based solely on this information, advertiser could send her numerous targeted advertising that may appeal to her. The advertiser that collect and use this data claim to not keep sensitive personal information on file, but it is difficult to figure out exactly what this big data advertiser know. Unfortunately, this type of data collection is becoming the norm and currently there are no regulation against it, meaning it will likely be around for years. Depends on the means by which you are being targeted. I am of the opinion that people not only have the right but their duty to try to break from being tracked. It comes in many ways, but targeted advertising is the most obnoxious. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Faris Hilmi bin Anwar, 268125. In my view, we may apply the utilitarianism principle to determine whether targeted advertising is morally right or wrong. From what I learned, utilitarianism is the principle whereby the action and the policy should be evaluated on the basis of the benefit and cost they will impose on society. Eventually, the only morally right action in any situation is that whose utility is greatest by comparison to the utility of all the others alternative. To do this, we need to identify what are the alternative of advertising. In summary, we may classify the alternative into two types. First is targeted advertising. Second one is the non-targeted advertising. For both of the respective alternative, we will need to analyze the benefits and the disadvantage from the perspective of consumer and the advertiser. From the comparison, targeted advertising is better in terms of the quantity of the benefit. Besides, the disadvantage of targeted advertising may be easily overcome with this approach. First, for the consumer, the privacy concern may be overcome by executing an upfront agreement between the advertiser and the consumer to ensure transparency and full disclosure. With this approach, a win-win situation will be achieved between the advertiser, who will produce more effective ads, and the consumer, who will be presented with more apparent and useful ads by not compromising and violating any of their privacy right. For the second one is for advertiser. The process duration may be reduced by enhancing its system and technology from time to time in line with the modern world development. In conclusion, I support the idea of saying that the targeted advertising is ethical based on my application of utilitarianism principle analysis.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. I'm Nurul Amira binti Muhammad Rasdin, matric number 265740. Based on my view, targeted advertising should be followed by ethical principle of utilitarianism because in purpose-driven life, these ethical values stress the increase in personal and society utility. It also a principle that fundamentally brings meaning to happiness, that satisfies the plurality and the outcomes of desirable behavior. From the context of advertising industry, utilitarianism-based ethical value may see engagement behavior in advertising industry as a means of achieving the desired objective of customer satisfaction and happiness. culture to a perspective viewing advertising communication as a creative expression activity, they effectively share meaning with the target community. Then it is to a perspective that views advertising communication as a commercial profit making activity. Alright, in this context, relaxing advertising restrictions by recognizing practicality and realisticness, flexibly granting exemption for seamless interaction and sharing of meaning with customers rather than strictly adhering to laws, and so on, are manifestations of utilitarianism that need to be applied in advertising activity. Alright, according to this perspective, utilitarianism based ethical morality in the advertising industry is the ethical value that advertising professionals must uphold in order to help answer the question what advertising engagement behavior will effectively lead to increasing the satisfaction and usefulness of the majority of consumers. However, utilitarianism ethical purpose have the following drawbacks, which is unclearness of who decide who is the majority, lack of consideration for minority communities' goals, the possibility of infringing on the minorities' pursuit of pleasure, and the possibility of collectivism and racism in a multicultural community dominated by societies with monetary